Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, gavels, robes, plaintiffs, litigators, college football.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Now the number one sports podcast network in the world. Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork required. Vanilla cakey flavor, a caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you and back to the hallowed grounds of manly competition. We go. Not a gridiron, not a basketball court, not even a tennis court, but court is involved. It's attorney season because that season is year-round. You may have seen come across the wire this week news regarding Brendan Sorsby, University of Cincinnati, and litigation. What does it all mean? That's the gist of my question today, Chris, but we'll get to a couple of different layers to this as we catch up on the latest as we know it or have a feel for it, which can always be very difficult whenever it comes to some of these legal proceedings. You and I, podcast hosts, guys that cover sports, radio guys, forum, RedRaidersports.com guys. I don't know what your attorney background is. I'm just offering up at the beginning, though. Mine is minimal, so I have a lot of questions that I'm just going to throw at you because you're the other face I see on the screen. But I think the word enforceable is going to be utilized a few times within this convo as we kind of get down maybe to the crux of the matter. So what was the reaction to seeing this come across and sort of your feel for it now as you've had a little bit of time to digest it?
Well, I remember some chatter about this, what was it, 6 weeks ago, that there was, I don't know how it was reported. I'd have to, back at the mid-January maybe, it was like, hey, there's an intent to do this or that, and I can't remember if it came out on a Friday, and like by all accounts, it was like, man, that's not accurate, or they're not going to do that, or it was they mutually, they left in good standing, which is kind of what we've talked about. That this is what kind of was indicated to me and by various parties. So I guess there was a change of heart, or who knows. So here's some questions or some things I would ask aloud here that I think are important to note. First off, this has nothing really to do with Texas Tech. I mean, yes, he is set to play quarterback for you, but this lawsuit or this legalese that we're discussing here, it's really between Brendan Sorsby and Cincinnati's athletic department or council or whatever. Okay, so that's clear. And we don't ultimately know what the contract was that he supposedly signed or agreed to. So I saw his representation with their statement, and they didn't really deny that there was an agreement for 2 years or whatever. They just said, hey, you're looking for too much money, or he's made way more money than that for you, whatever. So I'm sure there's a plan there and whatnot. And you mentioned the word enforceable because he's not an employee. This is the whole crux. And I will say this too. It's important to note Texas Tech could be involved in something like this at some point too. I mean, I remember Joey famously saying back in the middle of the season when being asked about Will Hammond, hey, anybody out there? We got Will under a 2-year deal. So sorry, if you're trying to come get him or, whatever. So I don't know what Texas Tech would do in a similar situation. But he's a student athlete. He's not an employee. So again, is this? And I think that if you get into the weeds on the way that words are used, and because we're not lawyers here, but some of the legal folks that have spoken on this say that's the key phrase is student athlete, and students are allowed to transfer wherever they want without penalty. It's worth mentioning that Cincinnati didn't do anything to stop him from transferring. They also replaced him with a quarterback from Georgia Southern. And I'm sure that could be argued. Well, you got somebody, you'd already replaced me, and so you didn't stop. So what signal are you giving off there? They just didn't let him go and then intended to, recoup whatever financial damages that they have perceived that there are. And I know this too, because this isn't the first time we've heard that he was under a 2-year deal and there was going to be a penalty and things like that. Because, like I said, I think this was reported way back, whatever. And I don't know how it played out here, but I can tell you that there was a former SEC player that left one SEC school and went to another. Where he left, did try to seek damages and try to secure funds, and there was some suit and a countersuit and all those things. The SEC school that he transferred to basically said, hey, we understand what's going on here, and so we're going to build this into what agreement you have here so you can take care of where you were. And I think that particular player never, or his representation, they didn't really do anything about it. And now he's at an ACC school. So I don't know what Texas Tech did on Sorsby's behalf, and did they build in some, hey man, if Cincy comes after you, here's this that's earmarked in your agreement to allow you to so obviously Sorsby and his camp, they haven't paid Cincinnati anything, otherwise we wouldn't see the lawsuit. So and it sounds like they're going to fight it. And I think there's people out there, they're on, hey, you got to hold these kids accountable. Or there's people in the camp of, hey, this is unenforceable. You can't stop. So I don't know how this ends up. But again, this is not really a Texas Tech problem. Now, if it provides a major distraction for Brendan Sorsby, then I guess you'd say, okay, this is spilling over into the quarterback that we agreed to that's going to lead our team. But anyway, it's an interesting precedent. I will say that because, see, remember the Duke quarterback, Darian Mensah, that went from Duke to Miami? At first, Duke tried to stop him from transferring, and then they kind of settled whatever, and now he went to Miami, and away we go. I don't know what money changed hands, but Cincinnati never threw up the red flag and said, hey, and I have a feeling – so it makes October the 24th interesting, okay? It makes it more a bit dicey and all that. And I don't think this is coach his coaches and the circle that he had at Cincinnati. I'm guessing while frustrating to lose him, I don't think there was some, hey man, we get it. Kind of, I think that was more, but this may be nothing about the football program there at Cincy. It's more to do with their athletic department or their legal representation. Is like, hey, because I'm guessing the relationship was fine when he left, and now it's damaged. But anyway, so that's for others to determine. But it's certainly newsy, that's for sure. And I'm curious as anybody to see kind of what happens here.
Yeah, I think the impact for the most part is just in regards to cash that wasn't coming our way anyway. So just let it flow around as it will. As it relates to Texas Tech or Texas Tech's quarterback, hopefully just mostly a non-story or non-issue of any kind. But as a college football fan, that's where the story is really interesting to me, Chris. And I'll go ahead and live in both camps in that I'm interested in enforcement while at the same time feeling like you can acknowledge, if the situation says it so, that something is unenforceable. Now, in particular, this case, it's our guy. So get your hands off of him. Leave your attorney mitts off of the boy. But in general, I'm intrigued by this because I don't like year-to-year free agency. Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. And we're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the number one picks and which sleepers are waiting to be discovered. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and only one is going to take the top spot. As you already know, 5 Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors and something for everyone, giving you a boost with zero sugar. Maybe it's the lottery pick, the cream of the crop, a fan favorite, peach mango, ripe peach flavor on the first sip, and mango to add that tropical depth and sweetness, smooth and well-rounded with an aromatic finish, or possibly a sleeper pick, ready to become a household name like the Confetti Craze, a delicious blend of rich and buttery fresh-baked confetti cake, smooth vanilla frosting, and a sprinkle of sweetness in every sip. Find your new favorite 5 Hour Energy Shot flavor today, available online through Amazon or at 5hourenergy.com. I'm intrigued by this because I don't like year-to-year free agency. The ease of movement part of the player experience improvement project has been the thing I've hated the most. No consequences transferring in conference, immediate eligibility, huge mistake, huge can of worms you've opened up, and that is the primary contributor to a feeling of chaos, if you perceive it to be there at all. It ain't cash. Money has always made all of this go round. That's not some new consideration or thought above the table, under the table, duffel bag, or outside the duffel bag. It's always been a part of it. You think they contribute to a scholarship with wampum or eggs or goats? Cash. I mean, so it really is more so the player movement to me that's always kind of felt like, whoa, you've got to rein this in. There's got to be some type of impact if you're just on the move constantly. Nobody likes year-to-year free agency. So from that aspect of it, I almost feel like in some way this has to be like a next necessary exercise for somebody. I hope it, again, is not something that makes me regret that it's our guy that's going through the exercise. But you get what I'm saying? I think in some way, like, you've got to get through some of these steps and set some precedents somewhere to kind of point to what a contract means, I guess, for a college athlete. And even then, I don't know if that actually addresses like the ease of movement problem. And again, that's just my perception. Maybe some people are like, it's not a problem at all. By the way, I'm pulling for a team that's made all kinds of hay off of this ease of movement era.
Mhm.
You know, I've enjoyed the ride, but I mean, I can compartmentalize and still sit here and view the bigger picture as a college football or college sports fan and think, yeah, that's probably not the most fruitful or healthy way to sustain what you got going on. Every year free agency. That's the best way to just kind of look at it. I think we've said that over and over.
I mean, the toothpaste is out of the tube, and that's not. I mean, that's not changing. I think, and while it is uncomfortable, my thing has always been, as far as player movement goes, nobody's ever going to leave you if you're taking care of them one way or the other, or if you have what they're looking for. And whether that is finances, whether that is playing time or a bigger role or scheme, or I just love this coach, I love where this place is located, whatever. Because you've never seen anybody just leave that was like, man, I really don't. I mean, why did he want to leave Cincinnati? Well, they weren't going to pay him what his market value was. And it's funny you mentioned that about the fight here, because it was reported around the first of the year that the Washington quarterback was contacted by LSU, and he was going to enter the portal and leave, and then everybody's like, whoa, hey. And that, I think the legal folks got involved there, and it's like all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I'm gonna stay here. I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that. I'm not going to the portal. But then Mensa, he very clearly, with one of these other programs that could spend the money, he left Duke and is going to play at Miami. And I don't know if what they settled or how much it was for. I don't know if that was ever disclosed. But so there's been some examples of yes and no and enforceable. And again, I just don't know what the grounds are. I don't know what people are signing, and I don't know how how much it holds up. The other thing, it was interesting that part of Cincinnati's argument, or part of the breach of contract that they're accusing Brendan Sorsby of, was the fact that, and this is involving Texas Tech. That I don't know if you had seen this or aware of this, but they very clearly pointed out that Brendan Sorsby's name, image, and likeness that was used in Times Square in New York was breach. That Brendan Sorsby okayed and allowed Texas Tech to put his picture up in Times Square, which I thought was interesting. So, because I think that the way that they're saying in that contract, like, we own those rights, you can't, and so that's part of their argument, is that no, he's allowing another school to use his. So I don't know where this goes. I don't know. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if there was a quick resolution, but it also wouldn't surprise me if, like, this is something that plays out after he's done playing here. If you just kind of tie it up in the courts and fight it, and whatever. I just don't know. And at some point, somebody may go, "It's just not worth continuing to fight for. This is just costing us money." And but maybe they're sticking by their guns and their principle and all that. Maybe Sorsby and his agency are doing the same. I don't know where the end would be, but a quick resolution or well into 2027 before this gets resolved, neither would surprise me.
Depositions, plaintiffs, gavels, robes.
Judge Wapner.
Like sands through the hourglass, these are the days of our college football lives in 2026, baby.
Yeah, man, that's good on you, man.
That beat slaps in any era. I don't know why they gave that to the People's Court. I mean, somebody else should have had that. Was that Quincy Jones who was coming up?
I don't know.
Incredible, timeless. All right, Chris, appreciate some time to catch up on this. We're obviously going to keep an eye on it. We'll see if maybe there is some quick resolution, or is it one of those things that just drags on and on and on to whatever advantage for someone. We'll keep touch on that, of course, and the best way to do so on your end is to get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss a thing. Chris, appreciate you, and we still got a ways to go this week. We're going to dive into a mailbag, and we're getting ready for a trip to Ames, Iowa. So stay locked in, my man. I know I ain't got to tell you. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, and we'll see you for the next one.
You got it, man. Looking forward to it.
Thanks to the everydayers for always riding along. And of course, the Matador Mob. Find a link to a free 14-day trial in our show notes. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text and straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.